Am I the butthole for my reaction when my 30-year-old fiancé exchanged his gift with my 16-year-old brother? I, female 26, been with my fiancé for 3 years. We both work and we both share rent and other expenses. But my fiancé is currently looking for a new job. He lost his old job 3 months ago. My family lives 30 minutes away, and although it's been difficult this year, I decided to get my brother, who has a chronic condition and struggled a lot lately and was in the hospital for a few days for anemia, the one thing he's been wanting for some time. I got him an Xbox that cost me $300. He was so happy, and I'm glad I was able to cheer him up during those times. My fiancé received a few gifts from his family, but he wasn't happy with any of them. I got him a perfume and he liked it. We were visiting my family and we had dinner with them. My fiancé looked at the Xbox I got for my brother and didn't stop talking about it. My parents noticed. I told him to stop complaining about what he got/didn't get this year. That made them uncomfortable, especially since they've been dealing with my brother's health issues and needed to relax. We got home and my fiancé took something from the closet and left for about an hour. I was asleep when he came back. In the morning I was surprised to find my brother's Xbox in the closet. I woke him and asked him about it. Turned out he dropped me off, drove back to my family's house and exchanged the gift his aunt gave him, a $14 fancy pen, with my brother's Xbox. He said that my brother was happy to exchange gifts. I was so mad I told him this wasn't for him and he basically took something that is not his. Not to mention a pen for an Xbox, that's ridiculous. He told me that maybe I shouldn't have spent $300 while trying to pay for rent. I told him as long as I can pay rent that's not a problem. And that he needs to find a job if he thinks my money isn't enough. I called my mom and I found out that they didn't actually exchange gifts. My fiancé pressured my brother into giving him his Xbox. I was livid and so mad I told him to take the Xbox back to my brother, but he said it was between him and my brother, but I insisted. He refused, so I ended up taking it myself. My fiancé argued when I took it and said that I was pressuring him and treating him poorly and have no respect for his feelings. I told him he was wrong to make my brother give him his gift and causing him stress and ruining his joy. I apologized to my brother and my parents and I felt awful because of how my fiancé behaved. My fiancé isn't talking to me, saying that I have no consideration for his feelings and not understanding how he feels not having money to buy himself the things he likes. I'm surprised because he has never done anything like this before. I get that he's struggling with finding a job, but this is not an excuse. NTA. You may want to consider trading in the fiancé though. Doesn't need to be an even trade. Tell him to keep the pen. Cut your losses, NTA. Fiancé for nothing would be trading up at this point. He's a huge butthole. Can we rename fiancé to Hugh Butthole? My fiancé played blackout with a butthole this morning. Is blackout a euphemism? I'm dying over here. Blackout from Call of Duty Black Ops 4. True, the fiancé's value after this is Vay, and 0 is always better than Vay. If I were original post, I would thank God that it's only fiancé and not husband with no kids between them yet, and you can give him the pen, the engagement ring, and your middle finger and get out of there. He sounds extremely selfish and stooped as low as taking a kid's Christmas present from him. $14 pen compared to an Xbox is worth nothing, in my opinion. But don't physically give him the middle finger. His value isn't high enough to actually cut off a digit. Maybe he can trade in the ring for an Xbox and be super happy, because his fiancé clearly means less to him than an Xbox. For real. He wants an Xbox more than he wants a life partner. I mean, how nice is this pen? Right, in fairness, we don't know the details about the pen. She said it was $14. It must be a really nice pen, but it's still a pen. $1,400 is a really nice pen. $140 is a nice pen. $14 is $6 cheaper than my beater pens. Ops fiancé is terrible. I came to this thread to find the first person with a reasonable idea of what pens should cost. Are your beater pens slummies? Mine are. I consider $14 a nice pen, but my really good beater pens are all free pens I got from a business going under. They're just these ballpoint pens that have a logo meant to be given away, but each one lasts me quite a while, and I'm personally very rough on ballpoints, being left-handed. If I spent over $20 on a pen, I'd never use it out of fear of breaking it. Wow. The maximum I would ever even consider spending on a pen is about 14 cents. Have a seat. Comfortable? Good. There are pens that cost $35,000. And there are people who buy them. It's bonkers. Lucille Bluth? Is that you? In fact, use the pen to write him a note telling him he's single. Dear John, seems we've sung Love's last song Dear John so long only ancient Redditors are going to get that reference. I got Ovaltine and Werther's originals at my house. If this is how he reacts to the kind of disappointment most people experience, imagine how he'll react to more drastic losses and problems. I gave her my heart, she gave me a pen. Maybe Original Post could trade him for the pen? Your 30-year-old adult fiancé stole from your sick teenage brother, and then threw a temper tantrum when he was caught. Girl, if you don't just throw the whole entire fiancé out with the trash where he belongs. I forgot to mention in my comment, so I thought I'd add here that the silent treatment is an emotional abuse tactic. It's an attempt to control someone into behaving the way you want. He's not just a butthole, he's not just immature. He's emotionally abusive. F that guy. If you want to keep him around, you need to look into couples counseling. This is not okay. I agree except for the couples counseling. If there's abuse in a relationship, it's highly recommended not to get couples counseling because it often makes the abuse worse or the abuser manipulates the therapist to be on their side. I agree, but that being said, we should be clear that not all potentially abusive actions make someone an abusive partner, necessarily per se. And couples counseling should not be thrown out the window when any red flag for possible abusive behavior comes up if it is something as relatively small as the silent treatment alone. That is a kind of inflammatory thing to say, I know, and I want to be clear again that I agree completely that when someone is in an abusive and/or manipulative relationship, couples counseling is not the right move because it might convince the abused party to stay with their abuser, or for them to be more gaslit. And I also want to be clear that physical abuse is never ever acceptable and those parties should always be helped to leave ASAP, even after a single instance or threat. However, employing a single behavior that could be considered emotionally abusive is not always indicative that the entire relationship is abusive. For example, ops partner is giving them the silent treatment, which, as the commenter above said, is a tactic that is emotionally abusive. But it does not always mean that the party who is employing that behavior is abusing or manipulating their partner in other ways or that there is a power imbalance. It also does not indicate that the abuse is so severe that counseling should be considered out of the question. On the contrary, issues with conflict resolution and emotional maturity is the exact type of issue that couples counseling is meant to address. Opening up and discussing problems in a direct, candid, and non-heated manner is very difficult for some people, especially people who are neuroatypical, who have suffered past trauma, who have mental illness, or who have not had healthy relationships modeled for them at younger ages. That does not excuse behaviors like yelling/crying during arguments or the silent treatment, all of which could be considered red flags for abuse, but they can be explanations. And, if they are genuinely good people who are trying otherwise to be good partners, they are things that can often be addressed with couples counseling and individual therapy. My point is that it should be taken on a case-by-case basis, and while don't go to counseling with an abuser is very good advice, I think sometimes it is pushed too far into don't go to counseling with a partner who ever exhibits any potentially abusive traits, which is a great way to never make progress in a lot of otherwise good relationships. Abuse tends to be a pattern of behaviors, and it's important to take the whole relationship and person in context. It's a fine line and something to consider, I think. And also, to be clear, I'm not necessarily talking about Original Post and their fiancé right now because he seems like an incredible ass about the Xbox thing, and I can't imagine wanting to work it out with someone who would do something that selfish. Just about the silent treatment. Also, the important difference between the silent treatment, punishing you, versus taking space and not responding to you, helping me heal/collect myself. NTA to get to the point where you could ever possibly think your TA in this situation leads me to believe there has to be manipulation on his part. This is the only logical response to something so goddamn egregious. How can you even look at a person who would do something so despicable? Send him home to his family and then start the eviction process. Don't ever leave him at home alone in your apartment again, who knows what else he'll steal. Edited to add, NTA. Please don't stay with this man. Her fiancé's behavior would be unacceptable coming from a 6-year-old. He's got some balls claiming that she's not considering his feelings. This just screams immature and entitled. Imagine just being a grown man and complaining about Christmas presents in the first place, laughing my butt off. As a guy, if a male friend of mine pulled this off, I would rip into him for being such a lowlife. It takes a special kind of a failure of a human being to do this. As a guy, there is no way in hell I'd let this deadbeat date my sister. Dude can't support a family. Doesn't want to. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe his family purposefully gave him presents he didn't like, if he tends to pull this horrible kind of behavior. I know original post said that this seemed like it came out of nowhere and he never acted like this before, but it's so over-the-top awful behavior that anyone capable of pulling this, even in bad times, doesn't deserve any sympathy or leeway. It's easy to pretend to be a nice person when everything is going great, but when the chips are down, a person's true tendencies come out. More bad times are going to happen in their lives. If he acts like this while being unemployed, it's going to be far worse when there's a serious illness, problems with kids, infertility, deaths in the family. NTA. Dump him. Seriously, reconsider this engagement. I'm so shocked reading Op's story, and I'm absolutely livid on her behalf. I would have ended things right then and there. What a trash man, put litter in its place symbol. Seriously, imagine the future, bringing him back to the family's house for holidays, barbecues, get-togethers. You know her parents think he's the worst, and he will be treated accordingly, as he should. Or having kids with this man, and him expecting his needs to come before theirs? No ma'am, throw the whole man away. Didn't steal. Bullied. If you bully someone into giving you their lunch money, you're bullying them and stealing from them. I couldn't agree more. There is so much wrong with this. He spent your entire family gathering complaining about the Xbox you gave your brother and eyeing it, so much so that your parents were uncomfortable. He made a special trip back to pressure your chronically ill brother into giving it to him. He refused to tell you about this and then refused to apologize. He told you that you weren't being considerate of his feelings. And now he's giving you the silent treatment, and is angry at you and blaming you, still without apologizing. If he is otherwise acting strange, or having symptoms, I suppose you could urge him to go see a doctor and a therapist. I would really take a long, hard look at his behavior if I were you. Are you sure that you've never seen this side of him before? I do need to add, if you end up marrying this dude, I'm not sure your relationship with your parents and your brother will ever recover. He has shown them a side that is unforgettable, immature, sulking, entitled, and rude. Please take that into consideration. ETA, NTA. GameStop will give you 50 cents in store credit for him. For once they're offering more than the item is worth. It comes with a free pen. Best I can do is 25 cents. Wait. You guys are getting paid? Let's be real, it would have been 13 cents. This is the type of stuff that is so shocking, it can cause a person to feel a bit crazy and unable to process what happened. It's hard to know what to make of something so egregious and unexpected. But I'm sure that in the next Christmases this will be remembered by Op's family as that Christmas when the crazy butthole psycho ex-boyfriend tried to steal a present from her sick brother. Can you believe this happened? Some things are so awful you don't need to give somebody a second chance. So true, this wasn't an error of judgment, this person is just a horrible human being. This right here. Dump him, Op. Yeah, I'm not one to say dump your SO every time someone asks about their partner on this sub, but I was livid that this didn't say ex-fiancé. Op, what does it say to your family that you're still willing to marry someone who behaved this way and treated them this way? He made them uncomfortable because of something they didn't even have a hand in doing. You're the one who gave the gift, so his issue was with you, but he dragged them into it. He consistently expressed entitlement. He prioritized his own material wants over your brother's happiness when he's been faced with tremendous stress and unhappiness. Then he went behind your back and stole from your sick and pain-riddled brother. Op's not a butthole for getting mad. Original post will absolutely be a butthole if she marries her fiancé. Edit. A typo. Op's brother could be a perfectly healthy 16-year douche canoe and I would still say the fiancé behaved inappropriately. You do not get to take things from others that do not belong to you. That he seems to be lacking in empathy for someone in such an awful situation is just icing on the crap cake. She should definitely dump him. Seriously, this is insane. If I was in the same situation with my fiancé and brother, my fiancé would want to figure out a way to make giving that to my brother work. Even if my fiancé was insecure about money and actively wanted an Xbox, he would give up any and all of his gifts just so that we could make a gesture like that for my brother. I can't believe they are at the stage of being ready to be married. This is not the way a loving couple treats each other's loved ones. This. Huge red flag. Run, don't walk. And stop making excuses for the soon-to-be ex-fiancé who is selfish, thoughtless and a complete bastard for trying to take advantage of Op's brother with health issues. Maya Angelou, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. NTA. I mean, he drove back. If that doesn't tell original post anything about her fiancé, she's just, forgive me my rudeness, stupid. I just realized he drove half an hour to steal an Xbox from a sick kid. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the guy. Real talk, this is not a man you want to be legally bound to. Yep, pressuring a 16-year-old is freaking awful. Definitely exchange the fiancé. NTA. Trading him for a pen would be a massive upgrade. Why is he your fiancé again? 'Cause he's such a great guy? Time for a reality check. Your fiancé is TA. This, and think of the money you're going to save when you don't have to spend it on a wedding. Yup. Rarely am I a throw the whole man out kind of person, but this case fits. Consider. Just do it. That's incredibly awful to do to a child. Info: why are you with this butthole? Like, what redeeming qualities does he possess? He's never done anything like this before and I'm shocked. Ever since he lost his job, he's been behaving strangely. Ever since he's lost his job, he's been showing you another part of him. This is still him. When things don't go his way, this is how he behaves. Stress, frustration and disappointment are no excuse for such behavior. He basically stole, through guilt, your sick little brother's Christmas present. If it was me, he'd be an ex-fiancé. This. Perfectly said. It's very important the original post understand this part of him was always there. This is who he is, a bully and a butthole who will steal from a sick kid and then throw a tantrum and try to blame her when he's caught. This is a preview into a lifetime of this behavior. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.